muscle up to the top rope.
This is Brandon Kelly, Speedy 4759123, and we about to start Papa Pear Saga level 25.
Boots were slippery, or maybe Lesnar was too tired to complete the move, but whatever caused it, the next big thing came short of the target and landed head and neck first into the canvas. Lesnar tried in vain to grab Angle, but the impact of the crash caused him to roll away. This was supposed to be the big finish, the big WrestleMania moment. But in the moments following, Lesnar lay unmoving in the middle of the ring, and Angle looked around to try and understand what exactly had happened. At this point, Angle improvised at a speed beyond his own experience. He'd only been a professional wrestler for 4 years at this point, and covered Lesnar. He screamed at the younger man to kick out, and somehow Brock had the sense to raise his shoulder at 2. Angle then called the finish on the spot and told Lesnar to hit an F5 and cover him for the win and the title. Number 4, Steve Regal versus Goldberg. This match is the tale of two sides. Regal himself has consistently denied any wrongdoing on his part and has explained he was only following orders. However, it does seem odd that WCW's orders would be for the man from Blackpool to out-wrestle and beat up their hottest up-and-coming star on national TV, but that is what happened. In February 1998, Regal and Goldberg squared off on Nitro. Up until this point, Goldberg had squashed every opponent put in front of him in about 30 seconds. But on this night, Regal would not be beaten so simply. Regal used every trick in the book to evade Goldberg's destructive offense while landing a lot of his own. Through the match, Regal hit Goldberg with numerous stiff uppercuts, solid kicks, and at one point a chop block to the front of Goldberg's knee, which looked like it could have legitimately injured the former football player. Eventually, Regal succumbed to a spear and a jackhammer to be pinned clean in the middle of the ring. But that is not the full story. Something clearly went wrong with this match. Was it just that Goldberg was inexperienced and couldn't keep up with Regal's work, or was the Englishman changing plans on the spot? Goldberg himself said in his autobiography, "The office didn't tell him to go out and take advantage of me. He tried to kick my face in a couple of times, and I was just giving him my face." Perhaps this is just another wrestling mystery, but it sure is interesting. Number 3, the Royal Rumble match 2005. Angry Vince. Angry, sweaty, sweary Vince. It was January 2005 and the WWE were ready to crown 2 new stars at their annual Royal Rumble event. From SmackDown there was John Cena, and from Raw, Batista. Both were on the rise and gathering crowd support. Both were seen as the future of their respective brands, and both were due the spotlight to be shone on them at the Royal Rumble. After 28 other men had been eliminated, Cena and Batista were the final 2 men left in the Rumble match. Following a brief exchange between the pair, the Animal scooped up the Doctor of Thugonomics for a Batista bomb. But instead of slamming Cena into the mat or to the outside, Batista lost balance and both men flipped over the top rope. Even on the video replay, it wasn't clear whose feet hit the ground first. It's actually quite outstanding that this moment wasn't planned, as it really was brilliant. What's even more impressive than the unplanned double elimination is the reaction of the referees. Instead of scratching their heads and wondering what to do, Charles Robinson, the Raw referee raised the hand of Batista and the SmackDown official claimed Cena was the winner. Big Dave and Bigger Match John played their parts too, as they both claimed victory. A standoff ensued as both parties had a rightful claim to the win. Who could help restore justice and keep the peace? Enter Vince McMahon, the angriest, sweatiest, sweariest Vince McMahon of all time. He stormed down the aisle, screaming every step of the way. He then dived red face first under the bottom rope and promptly ripped both quadricep muscles clean off the bone. Once McMahon sat on the mat, Batista and Cena improvised a spot by each taking it in turns to throw the other over the top rope. Finally, Vince ordered the match to restart. Well, the final 2 to restart, not all 30 men. And following a brief back and forth, Batista dumped Cena over the top rope, claiming the win and a WrestleMania main event. Well deserved. Number 2, the Acolytes versus Public Enemy. Public Enemy were one of the premier teams in ECW, and they hope to follow other ECW stars who made a big splash in the WWE, such as Mick Foley, Steve Austin, and Scott Hall. Yes, Scott Hall was there. Unfortunately for them, however, they ran afoul of Ron Simmons and one John Layfield. As the story goes, Public Enemy were due to compete against a team who was then known as the Acolytes on Sunday Night Heat. The finish of the match was to see 2 members of the Ministry slam Rocco and Johnny through a table to visit ringside. Apparently, just as the match was due to begin, the Public Enemy let Simmons and Layfield know that they had decided they were no longer going to be the table spot. This angered Simmons to the point that he simply stated, if they don't want to be brought to the table, we'll bring the table to them. And so, they did. In fact, the Acolytes brought a lot more than the table to them. From the sound of the bell, they rained down stiff punches and kicks on the former Extreme wrestlers. Bradshaw bent a steel chair in half whilst administering his own form of Texas justice, and Farouk delivered one of the scariest looking dominators of all time. Eventually, Johnny Grunge was kicked, yes, kicked, through the table. Even after the table was broken in half, the Acolytes continued to punish Public Enemy. Finally, mercifully, it came to an end after referee Jimmy Corderas threw out the finish. This was essentially the end of Public Enemy's WWE tenure, but at least Farouk and Bradshaw were suitably admonished so they would never shoot on another wrestler in the ring again. Number 1, Jeff Hardy versus Sting. In many ways, Jeff Hardy versus Sting is a bit of a dream match. Just the visual image of the two face-painted heroes standing toe-to-toe is enough for most wrestling fans to get a ripple of goosebumps. Sadly, this dream match became a nightmare in every possible way. Jeff Hardy was not in a good place at this time. He was in TNA, but beyond that, Hardy was also battling his own personal demons and arrived at the arena in a state which should have meant the match he was due to compete in was instantly cancelled. Somehow, though, the producers that night decided to let Hardy go to the ring. Even at this point, there seemed to be no plan in place as to how they were going to get out of this situation. Following the ring introductions, Eric Bischoff made his way to the ring, telling the audience there was a slight change of plans. He then began to try and kill some time and talk nonsensically about the network and leveling the playing field by changing the match stipulation to no DQ. Whilst Bischoff addressed the audience, he held the mic at his side between sentences and spoke in rapid fire to Hardy and then to Sting. Once the match began, Hardy spent a full minute walking around the ring pretending to throw his shirt to the audience. Eventually, the pair locked up and Sting dragged Hardy into position to hit a Scorpion Death Drop. He then hooked Hardy's legs, who was clearly trying to kick out, and pinned him for real. Hardy protested in the ring as Sting made his way up the ramp. The crowd voiced their displeasure, and Sting said on camera he agreed with their chants of BS. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.
Hey everyone, it's Jack, Adam and Sam from Cultaholic.com here with, well, a kind of a special edition of, is it a podcast? What is it? It's a one-off.
It's a discussion, it's a round table.
It is, because last night, of course, we learned the very sad news that Defiant Wrestling, formerly known as WCPW, a promotion very dear to our hearts because we all worked there from the start, shut its doors for the last time. And we're just going to do this video where we basically, it's kind of a loose history of our time at the promotion, but also our favourite moments from both the show itself and behind the scenes, and just reminiscing generally and celebrating what was a crazy, frustrating, but brilliant time of our careers as well, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, and I think that's important to get across that although we sometimes had gripes with various bits, for the most part, 99% of it we had a tremendous time. It was really fun, and I think we all learned a lot as well.
And I think given like the times where things were stressful or bad or everybody was heated and we all fell out or we were made up or whatever, like I think we wouldn't change any of it.
No.
If we went back to it again.
Yeah.
We all learned a lot.
It was fantastic. I think before we begin, we should give, and we all want to give a massive thank you to everyone who was ever involved with it.
Yeah.
From wrestlers, and we're going to mention a lot of people by name in this probably, but we will forget some people because there's just so many people involved. From wrestlers to referees, commentary, ring announcers, people behind the scenes, crew, photographers, everyone involved with the promotion, and everyone who ever came to it. It's just really, really good time.
That's been the nicest thing about this, is all of these tweets have been going up, and relevant because on the last episode uploaded, X did this. So there was that, and also like timing of VT, so we would run external videos and all that sort of stuff, so I would count them in there. And yeah, I was also an on-screen character in the dastardly heel Adam Pacitti, which is a different character to
Starting off as a babyface.
Started off a babyface, a very bad one, and then progressed, and we'll get to that in a bit.
Sam, your role?
I started off as camera guy and editor. I was one of the ringside camera operators at the very first tape-ins, and then I would edit all of the footage, that was a learning curve and a half. And then as things progressed, I became sort of a live direct-to-vision mixer type guy. I would sort of sit with all the cameras linked into this box called a vMix, and I had a control panel where I could select all the cameras. I could throw the feed to VT, and I was sort of responsible for, I guess, putting the stuff you saw in the order you saw it.
Right.
Yeah, and I had to work closely with Adam, obviously, to we've got VT coming up.
I was kind of a, no pun intended, a bit of a jack of all trades. Oh, pun very much intended. I was an on-screen character. I was kind of a manager at first. We'll get onto that. I was sort of a loose sort of assistant GM for various GMs. I was also backstage off camera. I was kind of a just a general sort of runner backstage a lot of the time. Did interviews with people and kind of made myself useful wherever I could, I guess.
And I think all of us did that. Like, if there's
Oh,
something
yeah,
needed doing,
absolutely,
it wasn't like, hey, these chairs need putting out. Hey,
Jack.
that's your job. It was
no.
like everybody piling.
Absolutely.
But I think it's also fair to say that Jack did everything because as part of the series of learning the ropes, you literally did everything. You did commentary. You did
Ring bell. Sorry. The ring bell episode was a top one. I was an impromptu ref. I had to step in when the ref got on. Yeah. And I can't just way too fast. But it made the rest of it really strong though, because they were kicking out of one. So yes, let's go into, I guess, the preamble of before it really started. So it was kind of revealed to us that it was going to begin around the time we got back from Dallas. You'd returned to the channel, and it seemed as though everything was on the cusp. The YouTube channel, What Culture, was about to explode. It was really kind of picking up a lot of steam. And suddenly we were kind of hitting this news, hey, we're going to start our own wrestling promotion. What, as honestly as we can be, what were your initial thoughts when this news hit? Given that, like, we'd just come back from WrestleCon, and I think the Dallas trip was weird for us in a lot of ways, mainly because, like, it was the first time we'd ever get, like, stopped. It was like, people are watching what we do.
It was
like,
proper overwhelming.
I think we realised at that point that we had an actual audience. They weren't just numbers.
Yeah.
And they were people that would take what you were doing on board. And we were at WrestleCon, and I remember seeing sort of for the first time how these things sort of work. Like, you have to, wrestling's, I guess, an industry where you have to pay your dues. And I think that my initial thought was, well, none of us are wrestlers who have been involved in a promotion sport. But is it going to be like a case of, would we be shunned for it?
Right.
Would it be like that? I got really nervous about that.
Adam?
Yeah, I feel the same as Sam in that it is something where you have to pay your dues. And we saw a lot of criticism when the release video was launched. I remember people being generally excited, but there were maybe 5% of people on social media and the YouTube comments who were just saying, this is ridiculous. You're a YouTube channel, you dick about the cardboard belt and all that sort of stuff.
And to a degree, I saw their point.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one thing that I was very surprised at as when we started was just how kind of willing and accepting the wrestlers were to go with it. I thought we'd be in for a lot more kind of unwillingness to be helpful.
They were expecting a poo in your bag.
I was expecting a lot of resistance from the wrestlers because we weren't proper industry in the business guys. But there was almost none of that. I can't think of any really. They were so helpful and willing to just help make the show as good as it was. A big part of that, we have to mention James Dixon, who was the kind of the, what was his role, man?
I don't know, is he the head booker? He
was the head booker and talent liaison.
I think he was sort of the de facto head of creative. He did a lot of stuff though.
He was the crucial bridge as well between us, the YouTube guys, and talent. And without that, I think it would have been a far trickier prospect. Just because everybody involved, because he'd been a wrestler himself, he'd also ran promotions himself. So we needed him on board definitely, and we can't really give him enough credit. When I heard the news, I was also skeptical. But in hindsight, I was just saying this to Sam off camera. I've learned so much from the promotion that I would never have known about just wrestling generally, seeing how it's all put together. Now, before the first ever taping, which we will get onto in just a second, we did shoot some brief angles in the What Culture office with the likes of Joe Henry, Big Damo, and Rampage. The first storyline was that Adam Blomke was Rampage's manager. I was going to manage someone else, and it was kind of Henry and Damo. Dixon described me as the prettiest girl at the dance. They were flying over my affections in a rough sort of wrestler way. Do you remember anything particular about those early in-office shoots?
I remember Damo, now Killian Dane. I remember him turning up and being the nicest guy in the world, despite like being super intimidating to look at.
Yeah.
And he was just like really sound, like so receptive to everything. And it was like, we're gonna shoot some promo stuff. I think it was around that time we did some like, I think it was like camera tests. It was just like photographs of people, so we knew like we had those things on file and everything. And we did. I think it's the vignette where he comes looking for you after Henry's been caught in you, and he turns up to the office in full ring gear.
Yeah.
And so when he was in the office and we're all just talking and stuff, he was just in like tracksuit, just normal clothes.
Yeah.
And so I'll just get into my gear. And so we took all the photos and it was like, right, let's shoot. And we put him in the lift of this building to shoot the opening shot of him coming out the lift. But the building we were in has like serious businesses. Like, I think there were like law firms and accountancy firms and like architectural companies.
Did not fucking need that.
We just put this like giant,
The hairiest man in the world as well. All oiled up.
Just in the lift, and it was like you just go down the floor and come back up. It was like, yeah, and we had to keep shooting that because I think the focus kept blowing. Right. So we shot it a few times anyway for safety. I think it was just that moment.
That's a new record,
Seeing it, and it's like,
but I accidentally pressed the airdrop, so we're not gonna use that one. Unfortunately.
Songs and stuff. Yeah. This was the first time I realised I had like an open close view of like a charismatic wrestler charisma in acting live in front of you. You just turned it on. You'd be talking normally, very polite, and then the camera would roll and you just be like, let me get one thing straight and just go into it. And I was like, this is crazy. Like certain wrestlers, some are better at it than others, but just flip into their characters immediately. And it was pretty intense to see, but it was really fun as well. They fall of the monopoly. Then we had our first taping in a leafy warehouse in Byker, an area of Newcastle, which can be described, I think, as gritty. Gritty area. It's like the Shane Meadows of location. The Shane Meadows film of location. This is Newcastle. Yeah. And it's not in the middle of town. It's slightly off the beaten track. It made me think it's a bit of a difficult place to get to. It made me think no one's going to turn up. We're going to set up. We're going to stand there and wait for it, and no one's going to show. But they did, which was amazing. It became one of those first set of tapings, especially the date at the matinee. Yeah. Same time as the World Cup. No, Euro 2016.
It was a Saturday morning, if I remember correctly. A Saturday morning. It's like they didn't announce it previously, so I think it was like Ryan, the ring announcer at the time, was just like, by the way, if you want to come back for some wrestling, there's some wrestling tomorrow at 10 a.m.
I think it was weekday.
Weekday?
My event. But it was
early, not even people were work.
I was quite terrified. I think the atmosphere there was unreal, especially I can't remember who Joe Coffey faced. It might have been Friday, where they had sort of went through the crowd, and it was just amazing. Yes, it was also kind of, I think, it kind of gave it a distinctive feel. There were a lot of errors we made with the first show, the green screen, of course. But I think we should now go through just the list of the WCPW originals, just give them proper credit. So we have Martin Kirby, of course, who's done from like the heart of WCPW. I think it's fair to say. Ligero, Damo, with me as manager. Rampage, with Rampage's manager. Joe Henry, Climate, Susie is his manager. Joseph Connors, of course. Joe Coffey, Prospect, with James R. Kennedy as their manager, who later becomes Taylor Kennedy. Gabriel Kidd, Prince Amoon, Drake, Noam Dar, and of course Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal's there as well.
Yeah, Jay Lethal wasn't meant to be there. This was organised maybe 2 weeks beforehand.
Really not?
Oh, no. They weren't going to do it. And then they realised, like, hey, you get some money. You can get something back. Yeah, well, you're independent. And Ring of Honor was generous enough to say, hey, yeah, you can have Lethal, and you can come over and defend the Ring of Honor title. Well, we had a
with Noam Dar.
Yeah, singles with Noam Dar, and there was Nick Day.
Oh, was there?
The thing that I think it was Leeds, yeah. The thing that I think that Jay brought that not a lot of people realise is that when we were shooting promos in this back room against the green screen, it was such a small wrestling room area. Like there was literally a couch. There was maybe around 30 square feet of space, including a little bit outside. Yeah. And so everybody was on top of each other when we were shooting all the promos there. And as we're shooting promos, Jay was just like, so you can say this, yeah, do that. This is how you should like say that, and you can set up that, do that. And he sort of opened a lot of our eyes, I think, to how to shoot vignettes, to shoot promos and stuff like that. I went out and did my first bit. It wasn't for marketing, it was just a segment where me and Big David came and like run off Rampage as well. Obviously I went off the Rampage. No. And when I got to the back, and it really sort of, he was a nice guy, he sort of, full of advice though, and I remember feeling tough about myself. He didn't mean it to tell myself, he just immediately went off to the curtain and followed me, like, everything needs to be bigger. Every motion you make, every expression needs to be bigger. And I remember like, yes, thanks very much, like, thanks for the advice. And then I was like, a bit like, oh no. And then Dixon went, I don't want to go camping with you guys. And I was like, yeah, that is very decent there. And he was totally right as well. And I think we all did, or certainly we knew more on camera to learn that other than 100%. We'll talk more about it. I was really bad. I don't know where, I feel really, I went through the curtain on the first show, hardcore show, the whole thing's believable. And I remember coming backstage, somebody told me that one of the wrestlers, I think it was Noam Dar. It was me, I told you. An American actor, well, that kid's over. This kid's over, bro. And, because they were chanting Adam the Chief. Oh, Adam. Yeah, it was crazy. And I got out there, and I realised, hey, I probably should have thought about what I was going to say. And that was a real turning point. Caught it in the ring. Yeah, it was just like, Jesus Christ, I want to come out here, I'm going to welcome everyone. But this is mental. I've been away for several months and thrown into this thing, which is just so crazy. Like, we've never really performed in front of a live crowd at all. We've done some stuff in Dallas, I've done some casual stuff in London, in front of a small crowd, but this is a completely different thing. And it's not performing. Yeah. I mean, the people that pay to do that. Yeah, totally. And yeah, that was it was so different to what we're used to. Yeah, and I realised very quickly
it all built up Built to Destroy. First pay-per-view, I guess we'll call it. Do
you remember?
Built to Destroy.
Yeah.
I uploaded.
What was
Built
it? It was a rowdy atmosphere. I remember the crowd was hot for it. And there was various matches. There was that street fight between Coffee and Fire. It was really good. It all built. I think that's when it was Lethal and John and Lethal and Magaro. That's right.
I think it was the world part.
Obviously, he was retained. But the main event was Damo vs Rampage. First time I'd managed. Oh no, I'd managed Henry and Damo the night before when I did the Fox Town. And then it was the main event, and I remember one of the first spots. They whip each other into the corner or something. Rampage hits the ground, and I'm on the side of the ring he's landed on, and he's not selling pieces. And I'm like, oh no, what's happened here? It was just like a twin or something, but I saw in my head at the time, I was like, he falls up, he's injured, I don't know what to do. Also, they're both really heavy, big lads. Whenever they hit the ropes, the ring would like jump sliding in, I was like, oh,
it made the ring the foot off that.
Yeah,
it was being at ringside with the camera, and you just feel, and especially when people would hit the ropes and the ring would move and it would move into you, and you've got like a camera with a box on the front, like a matte box, and it would just jut into the box. And obviously, it's not the guy's fault. No, you just sort of like, it gets thrown back almost.
Because it doesn't feel like reality when you're looking through that lens.
No, you're
in your own world, aren't you?
Because you're looking at this little thing there, so you're seeing this distance, which is why a lot of times I would then, from that point, use the screen as best I could, because at least then you had a gauge of the actual distance.
You see what's happening around you.
Yeah, you've got your peripheral vision, which is great.
That all ended with the first ever swerve in WCPW history, the double turn in the main event with Blonde betraying Rampage and siding with Damo, who then attacked both me and you, and the ref, two refs maybe. And what did he hit you with? A clothesline? A lariat?
Yeah,
on the belt.
At the time, my glasses were broken, but they were actually broken before that match happened. So I went out there with cracked glasses.
Gimmicked glasses.
No, these were my legit glasses. They cost like £200 or something like that. Blonde and I were filming a promo backstage, and it was one where we sort of square off, I guess. It was eye to eye. He was do the cocky sort of
Yes.
like, well, good luck, mate. And then he hesitates and he turns around and he slaps me. My glasses go flying to the floor, just crack immediately. Like the lens.
God damn it.
I went out there, I was like, oh god, I hope people don't see that my glasses are already broken because I know I'm going to be hit in the face by Damo. So he clobbered me with a belt. It was really,
They actually hit you?
hard. Yeah. Because
Had looked good. Oh, had looked
that's
good.
the thing.
Yeah,
Because we didn't know how to sell or anything.
Yeah.
I think they were a little bit more stiff quite often. Always say.
Yeah, absolutely. But you finish yours. I'll talk about my experience of being hit.
And so he hit me with it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that really hurt. My glasses go flying across the ring, and there's this great shot from the end of the thing where my glasses are on the table like so, and you can clearly see the on the table on the mat canvas with a crack in them while I'm laid down behind. Just about to
Yeah.
really great thing.
Big shout out to both Ollie, Anthony, and all the photographers we had. Yeah, they were fantastic. Then I had to, I think this was before you maybe, but I had to also take a bump, not take a bump, but take a move. The plan was that he was going to grab me and sling me into the turnbuckle, and I put my arms up, and I was told that if I put my arms up, it'll be fine. My arms are over the front row, and I'll just go poosh, and then hit the floor. I was so nervous, I thought I was going to break my neck or something. And I got in the ring and I approached him from the wrong angle, just a little thing like that, and he wasn't going to be able to turn and throw me into the turnbuckle, the correct one. So he just punched me in the face. But it felt so weird because there's this huge guy just going, and it just felt like that. It was crazy. I don't know how he did it.
Oh, it was that soft. It was a light.
Oh, it was so
really?
soft.
Who was this from? Sorry.
Damo.
Right. Okay.
Didn't hurt. It just felt like I clunked it on something. It was amazing.
Special treatment.
He just, I think he must have improvised. He thought he's in the wrong place. Goosh. And then I hated the way I sold it, but I remember Liam Slater saying, "Nah, you went down like a boxer, like dazed." So I accidentally sort of did all right. But yeah, I beat myself up a little bit about it when it went online after that.
A few comments were said in the comments was just like Jack sold that horribly. But I think actually some of those
I didn't know it was coming.
it added to it as well,
Right.
because we're not wrestlers, and then it looks like we've been legit punched.
If I just gone like flat back over the top rope, whoa, just Shawn Michaels. And then from then on, things just really took off very fast. The next shows were in the O2 Academy.
We need to give a special shout out to Juice's Plant Hire.
What?
For giving us for where we needed a hard cam position, and because we're in this warehouse, there wasn't any place with real leverage you could put it safely. So we had to hire scaffolding. And we thought, we'll hire the scaffolding, they'll build it. Nope, they turned up and just left it. That's what their job is, to bring it. So we had to really quickly, on the day of the first show, I think, learn how to build scaffolding. Amazing. And it took Simon Corby, massive shout out to Simon Corby. Yeah. He was just sort of watching us struggle with it, knowing he could do it in about 10 minutes. And he just sort of like, let us just be idiots. And then just came along and went, do that, done. Right, let's crack on.
We're so punk rock, so DIY. With the backing of a big YouTube channel. Now, then things really rapidly took off. We then ran our next shows in the O2 Academy. Sam, I wanted to know what you thought about that, because for me personally, as a teenager, I was going to gigs in the Academy. It was insane for me doing a show in there.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Like, I properly loved that venue.
Mm-hmm.
It's somewhere I've had some of the best live music experiences of my life, and getting to run a show there was amazing. The one thing was that I didn't realise backstage in a venue was quite that normal and like dingy. Because it's like it's just like corridors with dressing rooms, and all the dressing rooms, of course, because it's an old building, they're all small.
Yeah.
And it's like, you sort of walk in the back and it's like, what's it going to be like? And it's like, no, there's just some stairs to the stage.
Yeah.
There's 4 dressing rooms, a few bathrooms and showers.
There we go.
What I always remember about that venue is going, because
That's finally level 25.
venue underneath the stage, and if there was the people taking bumps in the ring, the show was on at the time, you could hear it through the ceiling going like.
Yeah.
I just liked it. I thought it was quite a cool sort of. It made everything feel live and exciting. You don't go backstage doing nothing. Those shows, the first run of tapings as well. There were some big developments in the promotion. There was, of course, many people's favorite match in the entirety of WCW, Kirby versus Ospreay 1. Yeah. Which Kirby won.
Which was huge.
Oh,
because Will was over in New Japan at the time. Everyone thought, no, he can't.
His stock was rising quickly.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Kirby had previously booked in comedy matches, doing stuff with Ligero, those that have been wrestling forever. And their match at Built to Destroy was a thing. It was a comedy match where you lose your mask, you have to wear a dress or something like that. And then he booked in this match with Will.
This has been Brandon Kelly, Spady4759123. And y'all just got done watching Papa Pear Saga level 25. And thank you for watching.
amazing